Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. Coming soon, I'll be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 190. Today's working title is Your Wellness Needs a Home Too, the Wellness Document. So relatedly to last week's article and podcast episode about email, the other morning, as I was waiting for the people in my house to get ready to go somewhere, I was reading emails that I often put aside until later because I value those emails, but I don't always have time to read them when they arrive. Specifically that day, I received the monthly email newsletter from the Cognitive Clinic, which is a local mental health and wellness clinic. I am a fan. I have worked on projects with them. We end up at the same community events. I have been on Dr. Carla's podcast. And Ava mentioned in the recent newsletter that August is National Wellness Month. And I think I love that. I've gotten away from celebrating events or months or initiatives, whatever, on my blog and podcast as I want the content to be timeless. But National Wellness Month is too good to pass up. And to celebrate the theme, let me share an idea. While I also try to not say should, this is something I think we all should do. So let me lay it out. I have an Evernote note, and my 22-year-old son uses a Google Doc. So mine is called MCK Wellness, and my son's is called, his initials -medical. We're not very creative, but it works. So you could use a note on your phone for this or a Word document, even pen and paper, I suppose, though I prefer and also recommend a digital means. The point of having this on Evernote or a Google Doc is to keep it virtual so that I or someone else can access it from my phone, my laptop, or my iPad. I can share access to it with my husband if he needs to access or share information on my behalf, for example, if something happens to me. So here is what is in my document and my son's document. I'll mostly just focus on mine. At the very top, we have our healthcare providers listed. So I have my eye doctor, my dentist, my primary care provider, my gynecologist, my counselor, my dermatologist, and my chiropractor listed. Plus links to the patient portals for those and my user IDs, but not passwords, if there happens to be a portal attached to that, right? Below that, I have listed supplements like the Grüns multivitamins that I order every 3 months, or the Moon chews that I order, magnesium chews for better sleep, and I order those every 1 to 3 months as well. And then I have those websites and user IDs as well. Below that, I have my prescriptions listed, what I'm taking, what the instructions are. For example, I take one of them every other week, just once. I also have on there which doctor prescribed them, when I started that medication, and where I sourced them from. I mean, I only have 3. It's not that big of a deal, but it's at either Express Scripts or my local pharmacy. So all of that is at that top of that document as well. After the prescriptions, there's a short list of my upcoming appointments, like my September skin check at the dermatologist, my regularly scheduled check-in with my primary care person in September, and my next dentist appointment in December. Then I have a block of things I need to do, like have blood work drawn or schedule an appointment, and then an estimate of when those things should occur. For example, at time of writing this, I don't have an appointment set for my annual physical, but the end of November will be the 1-year mark. And so I have a note in my to-do list to call the office on September 1st and schedule my physical for sometime after the end of November. Same goes for my annual gynecologist appointment to be scheduled sometime after the end of October, which is when I had one last year. I had my mammogram in July, and when I was scheduling that appointment, the scheduler was impressed or amused, I don't know, that I knew exactly when I had had it done in 2025. And last month's mammogram was exactly 1 year and 1 day after the last one, per my insurance instructions of, at least a year between those exams. All of those data points take up less than 1 page on my document. And then after that, in reverse chronological order, or most recent notes first, are my personal notes about past appointments. Now, this is not a medical record. It's not official to anybody but me, but it is a place to park my notes about my own health and wellness. I have notes in the document from my recent virtual appointment with my PCP regarding some labs I had drawn in June, So there was one we were a little worried about. We talked about some lifestyle changes I need to make. We adjusted one of my prescriptions, and she made a note in my file for repeat labs when I schedule my physical the end of November. So again, not official in any way, but it's my document about my wellness. It's titled Wellness because keeping up on these metrics helps to keep me well. I don't go to the dentist twice a year because I'm ill or there's something wrong with my teeth, but because I want to stay well and I want my teeth to stay strong. I don't go to my eye doctor annually because there's something wrong with my eyes, other than, age, I guess. But I go because I want to make sure to maintain good eye health and keep my eyeglass prescription up to date. So what would your pertinent information be on your wellness document? Because please, my friends, start a wellness document this month if you don't already have one. And I'm going to have a little addendum here that is not on the page, because I was just talking with my producer about grown children, and having one started for your young adults and having access to it yourself until they're ready to take that on for themselves is really, really helpful as well. So this may sound like a lot of work. It's not. But let me share some reasons why you should bother with doing this work. So the first why is because of EMR. EMR are our electronic medical records, and they're great. So most of your providers can have access to most of your medical information, even across hospitals or portals, whatever that looks like, but not all. So, my dentist office, my eye doctor, my dermatologist, none of them have access to my EMR. So for my own continuity of care, it's important to me to keep track of those visits and notes in my own document. Not every lab value or doctor note, but the highlights for sure. And then I can update as necessary. The next why you should bother, because there's more to our wellness than just our next doctor appointments. Those next appointments are important, of course. In addition, I can look up on my wellness document that I received the flu shot on October 31st, 2025, last year. Now, that would also be in my online portal for the pharmacy, but what wouldn't be in there is the fact that I had a robust immune response and had a fever for 2 weeks. That matters. So that wouldn't be anywhere but in my own wellness document. And my note to self in my wellness document is to talk to my PCP about a different formulation or other options. The next why do we bother? Because we may need to access this information when we're filling out forms for a new provider, and we don't want to forget details. That's the answer. The next why is because once we've created it, we can add details as we go along or as we remember them. So here's really good news. You do not have to have a complete wellness document immediately. Yes, I opened up my wellness doc while I was writing this. I started mine about a year ago when I realized that my son had one and I didn't. And when I opened it up, I realized that I didn't have my surgeries listed, like childbirth or all of my basal cell carcinoma removals and their dates. And now I do. I checked on those notes from last year's flu shot, which reminded me to make note of the Tdap vaccine that I received in March to protect our little grandson who arrived a few weeks later. I added that to my document. So the next time someone asks when I received my last tetanus booster, because someone will, I will actually be able to tell them. Another why is because our loved ones may need the information someday. So perhaps you are part of the team for your children's health and wellness. Or as they grow up, they take a more active role in maintaining their wellness notes. Or perhaps you're a caregiver for an older loved one and need to add notes to their wellness document after doctor visits or phone calls. Or perhaps your spouse or family members may have to act on your behalf if something happens and you can't answer questions for yourself. Of course, we do not want to think about any of those last few scenarios, but they are a very real concern, my friends. Another why is because a wellness document helps you take action. Imagine with me, after your next doctor appointment, you jot down ideas that occur to you and the next actions that you're meant to take. And you put those in your wellness document and you also copy them to your to-do list. You add a deadline to those tasks based on when your follow-up visit with that doctor is scheduled, and then you actually complete them. Or you don't. And when you check in on the document in a few weeks, you are reminded to take action, and then you do. None of these notes should be scribbled on the back of open mail envelopes or on a Post-it note or scrawled on the after visit summaries and then never acted upon. The papers are not the reminders. Those after visit summaries, all 7 pages of them, those are not the reminders or the to-do list. Which brings me finally to maintenance. Of course, maintenance. I strongly suggest we all have a wellness document. And similarly to the recent email management article and episode, we need to maintain our wellness document, updating it regularly. And regularly is in quotes here because it's subjective. So how often do you want to update your notes? For example, I completed many wellness tasks in the last 2 months. And I feel confident that I am caught up, but wellness also requires continued maintenance. And so I will check that document and my to-do list every month or so, adding any new information and also reminding myself of the to-dos. And to get specific, I will put it on a mid-month reminder because I always seem to park things at the beginning of the month. And I will check in mid-month on that document and any to-dos. So what did we learn? We learned August is National Wellness Month. We learned that we need a trusted document, a repository for our own health and wellness information, including provider names, contact information, and perhaps portal links, prescription and supplement information, upcoming appointments, next actions to take, and notes from past appointments. And because it's important to care for and maintain our wellness, we also need to decide when we will maintain our wellness document. Take this first step with me this week to acknowledge and celebrate National Wellness Month. Support around getting things done, whatever is important to you, is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much and talk to you next week.